Hey, hey, it's Ray Langley at your service, virtual entertainer and wolf girl extraordinaire. Welcome back to the King in Yellow, and also welcome to my yapping about my experience at Hololive's English fourth concert, Serendipity. How is everyone today? Welcome in, Candace and Army. It's so good to see you guys. Um, let's see. Kicked out from the nice room. No, no, it's just that what do you call it? I wanted a little bit of a change of scenery. I mean, the study was nice, but you know, why not have a trip to the actual library? And read there today. Plus, I thought it looked a little more atmospheric. um, so my voice still isn't 100% yet. It's like 90% recovered, but okay, so I'm gonna start the stream with yapping about my time in Los Angeles for the concert because oh my gosh, it was so wonderful, guys. So Hololive English had their fourth concert in Los Angeles at the Shrine Auditorium just this past weekend for July 4th weekend, and it was the first Hololive concert I've ever been able to go to. A lot of the time, they're elsewhere. They were in areas I couldn't get to. They were in like New York, or there's the Holo Fest in Japan, which I can't get to because expensive. like a Japan trip for a weekend is a little bit out of the consideration for the moment. Um, and usually the timing just doesn't work for things. But I was lucky enough to have it be essentially in my backyard, and it was wow. Sorry, I'm still like kind of floating by on the magic that I experienced, but just I've streamed a lot of the concerts before, and being there in person, it there really is a difference. Um, I didn't. I always kind of knew. I always thought there was, but actually being able to experience a concert and see the pyrotechnics, the laser lights, just being able to be among that sea of pen lights, it's overwhelming in the best possible way. I was overstimulated slash positive, and it was just watching the MC segments, watching the performances, getting to see everybody dancing and moving and stuff, and not just what the camera let me see. I mean, the cutaways or just the close crop uh, angles and stuff. I got to see everything, and it was so good. I had balcony seats both days, and wow, they were gorgeous views. The second day, aka Blood Raven Nuke Day, I I was front and center balcony, so I got to stare directly dead on at the stage, and I was just, oh my god! I think my heart stopped for a second. It was so good. Um, and and not just the concert environment, but like everything, lining up and standing in line and walking up and down the line and just kind of casually talking to cosplayers, fans, getting photos, getting uh you know for my part, I think I built a little bit of notoriety for myself this weekend because I just kept princess carrying people. Oh my god. I would princess carry girls, I would princess carry guys, I would princess carry anybody who wanted it. Like, I would sometimes ask, "Hey, do you mind if I princess carry you?" And other times people would come up to me and be like, could I ask you to princess carry me? And I would be like, yeah, sure. So that was a lot of fun. Oh man, I got to carry so many beautiful girls. And mentally, I'm still there. um, It was so fun. I also found out that I still don't know what my maximum lifting capacity is yet, because I lifted someone that's over 250 pounds with like no issue. So I still don't know how much is my maximum, but I can princess carry someone that's heavier than me. So that's cool. Hey Frank, welcome in. Good to see you. It's been a while. How you doing? Wait, for real? Yeah, yeah. I princess carried someone. Somebody asked me, if they could be princess carried, and I was like, sure. Just to double check though. How much do you weigh? Because I know my best experience so far is somewhere in the 210, 220 range, and they were like, oh, 255. I'm like, okay. So I'm gonna give this a try. If I fail, I do apologize. That just means I've hit my maximum now and I need to get stronger. And so we did it, and I ended up still princess carrying them with like no problem, with no effort. So or at least very little effort. I don't want to say no effort. I'm not a Kryptonian, but yeah, someone who is about 50 or 60 pounds heavier than me, I can still princess carry. So it was pretty cool, knowing that I can do that. And I still don't know what my max is, because for me, the only way I'll know is if I can't actually lift someone. So as long as I can do that, I'm still in the game. Um, Been a while. Haven't been able to catch streams due to time zones. Yeah, time zones are a little. Mic is crackling a bit. Oh, give me a sec. Did you have fun? I absolutely did. It was magical. Let me just tinker with my mic a bit. It's doing the thing again. Okay. Let's see if that worked a little better. Oh, hold on. Accidentally knocked my mic off center. um, I don't know what's going on with my mic. It's like this XLR cable is only like a few months old, so I don't know what's going on. I sprayed some air duster into the ports and everything, so hopefully that might help if there was any like interference going on there. But anyway, so yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was uh just enthralled with the environment. I've never been to a Hololive concert before. And now that I have, I just want to keep going. I just want to go more and more and enjoy that crowd feel again. That I just want to like live in that sort of environment. And like the thing is like, what do you call it? Um oh, why did the chat do that? Okay, there we go. Better. Just trying to make it a little bit wider. There we go. Um, it's back. Oh, might be an audio interface issue. Ugh. Okay. I'm gonna disconnect, reconnect everything, and see if that helps. Give me one sec. I'm gonna go to BRB. Okay. Yeah, I just disconnected and reconnected everything. Uh, Sprayed more air throughout the uh stuff, and hopefully that helps. If it doesn't, it usually evens out by itself at some point, so maybe it's just an electrical thing. Because I plug in this interface right before I go in. I don't know, maybe it's just like the sort of um maybe it's the power draw. I don't know. I don't know. I also do know that this is a pretty old interface. This is a first generation Scarlett 2i2 Studio that I'm using. So is if that is what's going on, then well, I don't know. Ah, technology. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. So not only did I get to go to the concert, not only did I get to hang out with some amazing people, but I also had some good off-Kai events. And we went to okay, so the Rosarians and the Jailbirds basically both booked tables and sections at Medieval Times in Buena Park, which is sort of nearish to like Anaheim and like Disneyland, that area. It's like a city or two away from there. But for those who aren't familiar, Medieval Times is a, well, medieval themed dinner and show type of performance theater thing. So you go, they put on a whole like scripted show. There's a little bit of like um there's people in like knight armor and stuff. They do like some competitive sports stuff. There's a dramatic story, there's fighting. It's basically like pro wrestling HEMA. And what do you call it? It was really fun. And because such a large portion of us like booked the place, because previously the showing that day at that time was not going to have a lot of people at all. So because we booked such a large portion of it, they let us do some creative liberties. Like for example, we got a Liz and Narissa plushie knighted by the royalty and announced at the oh, joining us to celebrate these royal festivities are, you know, and so they were introduced as like they were introduced with the name Blood Raven. And it was so hilarious because like honestly, I bet we've kind of ruined the performance for those night actors because from now on they're gonna be like missing that. The red knight and the blue knight had like the Rosarians, the jailbirds just like cheering for them without pen lights, and we were like exceedingly like passionate with our cheers and stuff, and we were like making up cheers and stuff. It was so freaking funny. um Come to find out, the organizers of the Off Kai, Pig and Maddie, special shout outs to them, um, were responsible for essentially asking if the script could call for a final battle, the final battle of the performance to be between the red and blue knight. And it was just so Enreco. I love it. um, Narissa Plushie is officially princess. Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like when the knighting ceremony was concluded, they said, "I dub thee Princess Narissa of the Realm," and so everyone started calling her princess. It was so good. um, yeah, it was amazing, and we all got to take a photo. Um, in the courtyard with a special custom graphic on a flag that was drawn by Pachi. Um, Special shout outs to her. And yeah, it was that was made specifically for this event, by the way, and it was so freaking fun. I got to drink daiquiris, and then I ate their their themed meal because they bring out the meal in stages while you watch the show. Like it's and they call it like themed things like the hind quarter of chicken. They call it like dragon roasted dragon or something like that, and then like the tomato soup is dragon's blood, and it's just so funny. um but yeah, I got to do that. We got to go on a party bus that had like that sat like 40 of us or so. There was a pole, so I got to dance a little bit. Yeah, just a bus full of Hololive fans blasting Hololive music and like dancing around a pole. It was just amazing. I love it. um but yeah, that was the off kai stuff I did the Saturday before the show. Then after that, the bus dropped us off at the venue, so I waited in line. I met the macho Dachi and got to pose with him. Um, Over the course of the weekend, I lifted about 12 people, one of whom was Maddie herself, the legend, the lesbian representative of the entire fan base. And she weighed like practically nothing. She was so adorable. This was the next Pride event. Yeah. Hollow Pride. Pride extended by 4 more days to allow for this. um it was so good. And then after the Saturday show, we all went to karaoke. Um and we were just belting out tunes together. It was so good. I Party lasted until 2 a.m. when the business shut down like exactly on time and cut the music, and I was like, "Ah," but I get it. So it was fun. Maddie, honorary Hololive member with how much she No, honestly, like the fact that several talents know who she is, she's so cool. Like someone like with her level of notoriety, like it would be easy for them to get a bit like egotistical, but she is so cool. She's like just Maddie. She's just like, a really chill, really nice person. She's down to earth and like, and like she was so much fun to talk to. I didn't get to spend nearly enough time around her because, running back and forth and meeting this and that and organizing this and that. So like obviously, with con environments, you never really get to spend as much time with people as you want, even the people that you specifically made time for. So, but it was nice and I just have so much respect for her. She's so cool. Like the fandom is so much better for having someone like her in it. We are so lucky. That's oomph. Yeah. She talks to Rene? Jesus Christ. Man, that's cool. I love the fandom. I love Hololive. But yeah, that was my experience with Serendipity. I tore my throat, not literally, but like the day after on Sunday, I could not really speak because my voice was just gone. I was hoarse all day. Um, from all the screaming and cheering I did. I wanted to make sure uh that somehow Narissa and Liz heard me. I don't think they did. I don't think it's possible. But if my voice somehow makes it into the recording somehow in the mess of cheers, if you hear somebody shouting "Viva la Blood Raven," that was me. um, but yeah. Um, God, I love Hololive. I love being part of this fandom. I love that I got to go to this concert. I love everybody that I got to meet. Everybody I got to like lift. Everybody I got to spend some time with. It was just magical. Everyone was so like nice and so joyous. I I really need to like go to more of these events. I'm gonna be honest. I stopped going to conventions pretty much right as the world ended with the pandemic, and I never really trusted it to go. I really never trusted things enough to go back to it. The only time I went to a con environment in recent history was last year when I went to Anime Impulse because I had a meet and greet with Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame. But aside that, I have just stayed away from cons because I remember getting con flu. I remember getting sick and stuff like that. And that was before we had like, new stuff to worry about. But I mean, here I am like several days later and the worst of it was that I damaged my own throat a little by cheering too hard. I still feel pretty good. So like maybe nature's healing. Maybe it is time for me to start looking for this sort of thing again because there's a special kind of happiness that comes from having a good time at a convention or a concert or some sort of large scale, gathering like this and it's magical and I want more of it. So, the barrier between members and fans is pretty thin considering how many members were fans. That's true. That is true. How was traveling to the venue? It wasn't bad. Because for me, it was just a simple train ride away. Because the Los Angeles Metro rail system is pretty well connected. So I just hopped on a train and pretty much got off at a stop, and then transferred to a different train, and then I was pretty much there. It was really easy to get to for me. Um, like few years ago that wouldn't have been the case because like the transit system was still like upgrading and stuff, but like now it's absurdly easy to get to things. So LA and trains, wow. I know, right? No, but yeah, Los Angeles does have a pretty good like light rail system. It's pretty efficient. Um so yeah. Um but yeah, just shout out to everyone that I met. You know, shout out specifically to again Pig and Maddie for organizing those events. I also finally got to meet um, Aaron, the buff sapling, and Remy, who was a really cool like Narissa cosplayer, gender bend Narissa cosplayer. We got to like kind of do a light bit of fencing with some of the toy swords of medieval times, and we kept doubling. It's so funny. Why is everybody still busying up traffic then? Oh, well, that's simple because the transit system is good, but a lot of people still like using their cars for some reason, even though it means sitting in traffic. I don't know. I think that public transit is actually the better option here, but you know, my views on communal versus individual services is, you know. Also, I think it's just sheer amount of people. Like, there's just you can build and build, but like, there's just sheer numbers. We just have so many people here that accommodating them all is virtually impossible. So, um, there's no pleasing everybody, I guess. But yeah, that was my experience with the Holo Hololive English fourth concert, Serendipity, and getting to meet some of the fans as well as seeing the concert. Unforgettable experience, wonderful time, 10 out of 10. Would do it again. Not at that venue though. I'm not gonna lie. Here's the part where I highlight some of the negative things about the venue itself. The show was perfect. The show was great. The only hiccup was when Bijou and Kiara killed it with 6-7ing a little too close to the sun. But the venue was a little. The inside is beautiful. The like chandelier is really nice. The stage looks good. The seats are way too cramped. I don't know what the usual clientele is, but it's like chairs that it's like imagine the worst bus seats you've ever sat on, the most uncomfortable bus seats you've ever sat on. Now imagine they fold like theater chairs and that they're like about 75% the size in terms of like width and height. Like imagine a crunched in version of an uncomfortable bus seat, and that's the Shrine Auditorium's seating. It's not great. Like I'm not a huge person. I'm not a wide person, but I could hardly fit in there comfortably, and my knees on the first day kept like scraping against the back of the chair in front of me. The second day I had a front row seat, so that was not an issue at all. But then I kept scraping against the barrier that was keeping me from falling off the ledge. So like why is it so cramped in there? I don't know. It was terrible. Um what do you call it? Everybody mostly seemed to be standing anyway. Yeah, yeah, during the song performances we were all standing and cheering, but like during the MC sections and stuff when we had to sit, it was just not fun. um but yeah. What else? I heard I didn't experience it, but I heard some pretty awful things about like security on day one. I saw some of like only the fringest of it, like security completely botching the the bag sizing and bag check and stuff, and then some other just stuff. I heard like medication was withdrawn, or like people were searched unfairly in full public view, and like it was just mm, don't like that. But apparently it's because we got like the C grade, the third rate security, while everyone else was busy with the football. So, um, it was, yeah, that there was definitely things to be improved on. If they when they host another concert, um, hopefully one, if they go back to LA, it's not there. There are better amphitheaters I could think of. Two, I hope it's not LA or New York. I want them to go to Chicago, cause I want to go to Chicago. Like, okay, the Midwest is immensely slept on in the US, but like if you're gonna go somewhere in the Midwest, it needs to be Chicago. It's such a beautiful place, and it's got such like great architectural history. It's got such like, you know, it's got lots of like scenic areas because they do like boat tours and stuff. So there's like waterfront stuff. There's just it's beautiful. Plus Chicago pizza. Hello. um Dealing with authority in America. Boy, what a time. Yeah, in this day and age. Here's a worse idea. Florida. Oh god, please not Florida. Please not Florida. Not only is the weather like god awful, but I don't want to be anywhere in the vicinity of Florida, man or woman. That's just a terrible time. Chicago pizza angry Raura noises. Listen, Raura can be wrong about something. And it's the fact that she doesn't like Chicago pizza, okay? Get that New York thin ass slice out of here. I want the deep dish. I want to be able to pull my pizza and watch the cheese just keep stretching all the way until I'm on top of the roof. At least not Texas. Eh, I mean, if they go to like Dallas, maybe, but I'd rather not Texas. Um, she says it's not pizza. Eh, she could still be wrong about something. Is it kind of lasagna-ish? Maybe. Is it still amazing? Yes. Not Italian Ray is now disowned from my will? What? It is a pie. Yeah, yeah, it is absolutely a pie. It's like a savory cheesecake, really. But Chicago pizza is just where it's at. I don't I don't dislike other pizza, but it's just not Chicago. um but yeah, anyway, I would hope that they do get to go somewhere like that, just so they could experience more of the country and stuff like that. Because Chicago is a nice place, so I think that like the talents would enjoy it, and the special guests would. Uh, the JP or ID girls that they get to join as well. The thin crust stuff isn't really your average Italian pizza either. That's true. And it's not that I dislike New York pizza, but if I had to choose a side in the war, next stop, Cleveland, Ohio. Oh, please, no, not Ohio, okay? Bibu has too much meme power as it is. If we go to Ohio, I think the whole show will just implode. If she gets to invoke the Ohio memes, it's over. It's beige over. We can't let her do that. Come on down to Cleveland Town. But yeah, Serendipity was a great time. I was already like, you know, pretty much near selling my soul uh, to Hololive, but like getting to experience the concert in person, yeah, I'm devoted more than ever. And just getting to see Liz perform, for those who didn't get to see it, I think I can say it. I just can't show anything from it. But she performed Chiktaku, uh, which was it was so glorious in her performance, and then Narissa and Liz together as Bloodraven performed freaking Evangelion theme song, uh, Cruel Angel's Thesis, and just like I think I I think I lost my voice exactly during that performance. I just died, and I think even the official photographer for the event got my ass in 4K, jumping around and like doing like doing like Wota stuff with my pen lights. I'm not even embarrassed. I'm just like, hell yeah. Um. Anyway, also Autofister. Yeah. Oh yeah. Where are the audience pictures? It'll probably be coming soon. Take time to like um get home and sort through them and all that. I expect those pictures to come out like within the next few days, like within like a week of the event, sort of thing. And the official account will probably post it on their like Insta and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I think I've said everything I can say about my experience. I'm just still kind of like coasting by on the like riding the positive vibes that I got from there. Um, Last thing, temperature. Temperature um outside was actually really lovely. We lucked out. Like California is notoriously super hot and normally on fire at this time of year. Like, I mean that literally. Like, there are usually two or so wildfires that I'm notified about, and like, oh, just be careful of this area. Firefighters are taking care of this thing. And I'm like, okay. But like this year so far, we've had like maybe one, maybe, and it was contained pretty easily. It's been like cool and like temperate for like way longer than it should be. We're in July and it's only now starting to hit like high 80s. Um it's been overcast. It's been like morning drizzles. It's been like hazy days. And I'm not complaining, but also I recognize something is kind of wrong when that's happening. But I'm also not complaining because I love cool weather. I love weather like that. Like low 80s to high 70s to low 80s is kind of like my legit perfect temperature. So I got to experience not only a great concert, not only the company of great people, but it was nice out. And inside the venue, the air conditioning was so good that even though I was like uh sweating a lot, when I took my happy off and stood underneath the vent, um, where the AC was kind of flowing from, I cooled off in like a minute. It was awesome. Yeah, the future of weather is not bright, but yeah. Yeah. Uh, we're cooked. Literally, eventually. But um in the meantime, let's enjoy. Uh, I know some people in other areas that don't have it normally. We're having some pretty bad heat waves, and I hope you guys are doing okay. Um I hope that everyone who suddenly had the sun turn its angry laser glare at you um is doing okay. And no matter where you are, make sure you stay hydrated because oh boy, it's not fun to get like super hot. Okay, okay. I think I've said everything I wanted to say about serendipity. So that concludes that part of the stream. Let me go ahead and it's the humidity. Oh, I bet. Oof. Like dry heat is one thing. It sucks, but it's bearable if you have like a fan or if you can get to like somewhere that has like, uh air conditioning or something, but humidity is a monster. Ugh. Finished my finals. Woohoo! All right, Army. Good job. I hope you did well, but I mean with all the studying you've been doing, I'm sure you've done like I'm sure you've passed. Humidity heat's the worst because it retains the heat. Not only does it retain the heat, but I hate like the wet feeling. Like if it's gonna be wet, can you at least be raining on me? You know what I mean? Like, and I say this as someone who absolutely loathes being caught in the rain because I've been caught in the rain one too many times. And it's actually how I got like so sick that there was that week last year that I couldn't freaking stream at all because I was dying. But I still prefer that to humidity. Don't got the results yet. Well, yeah, but I have I believe in you. I have faith that you did amazing. Let's see. All right, let's move over here. And today we're gonna be doing stories 6 and 7 from The King in Yellow. Let me just go ahead and get that going. Um, oh, my waveform visualizer's all the way over there. What the heck? Move over there. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, we're going to be doing 2 stories from The King in Yellow today. And we have... They're short. But I like that it's short because... it means that I get to preserve my voice a little bit for tomorrow's Ace Attorney stream because I'm crazy and still want to do Ace Attorney stream because I love Ace Attorney too much. I've gone ahead and linked it in chat so that you can follow along. We're reading The Prophet's Paradise first, which is story 6 from The King in Yellow. I'll let you guys go ahead and open that real quick before I get started. And while you're getting that open, I know it's only a click, but just, allow me to riff for time. I'm gonna go ahead and get a little bit of water going. I'm gonna take a quick drink. I'm not going to BRB, I'm just gonna. Jeez, seeing the audio levels on my OBS when I drink water and the bottle like freaking decides to pop or like do the plastic crinkling sound. I'm like, thank goodness I'm muted during that. You guys can hear the backing music okay, and my voice isn't being like covered by it or anything. Okay, good. So I'm gonna get started. The king in. Everything sounds good. Yay! I like when everything sounds good. Okay. King in Yellow, Story 6, The Prophet's Paradise. If but the vine and love abjuring band are in the prophet's paradise to stand, alack, I doubt the prophet's paradise were empty as the hollow of one's hand. The Studio. He smiled, saying, "Seek her throughout the world." I said, "Why tell me of the world? My world is here. Between these walls and the sheet of glass above. Here among gilded flagons and dull jeweled arms, tarnished frames and canvases, black chests and high-backed chairs, quaintly carved and stained in blue and gold." "For whom do you wait?" he said. And I answered, "When she comes, I shall know her." On my hearth a tongue of flame whispered secrets to the whitening ashes. In the street below I heard footsteps, a voice and a song. "For whom do you wait?" he said, and I answered, "I shall know her." Footsteps, a voice, and a song in the street below, and I knew the song, but neither the steps nor the voice. "Fool!" he cried. "The song is the same, the voice and the steps have but changed with years." On the hearth a tongue of flame whispered above the whitening ashes, "Wait no more. They have passed. The steps and the voice in the street below." Then he smiled, saying, "For whom do you wait? Seek her throughout the world." I answered, "My world is here, between these walls and the sheet of glass above. Here among gilded flagons and dull jeweled arms, tarnished frames and canvases, black chests and high-backed chairs, quaintly carved and stained in blue and gold." The Phantom. The phantom of the past would go no further. "If it is true," she sighed, "that you find in me a friend, let us turn back together. You will forget here, under the summer sky." I held her close, pleading, caressing. I seized her, white with anger, but she resisted. "If it is true," she sighed, "that you find in me a friend, let us turn back together." The phantom of the past would go no further. The Sacrifice. I went into a field of flowers, whose petals are whiter than snow, and whose hearts are pure gold. Far afield a woman cried, "I have killed him I loved!" And from a jar she poured blood upon the flowers whose petals are whiter than snow, and whose hearts are pure gold. Far afield I followed, and on the jar I read 1,000 names. while from within the fresh blood bubbled to the brim. "I have killed him I loved," she cried. "The world's athirst. Now let it drink!" She passed, and far afield I watched her pouring blood upon the flowers, whose petals are whiter than snow, and whose hearts are pure gold. Destiny. I came to the bridge which few may pass. "Pass," cried the keeper, but I laughed, saying, "There is time," and he smiled and shut the gates. To the bridge which few may pass came young and old. All were refused. Idly I stood and counted them, until, wearied of their noise and lamentations, I came again to the bridge which few may pass. Those in the throng about the gates shrieked out, "He comes too late!" But I laughed, saying, "There is time." "Pass," cried the keeper as I entered, then smiled and shut the gates. The throng. There, where the throng was thickest in the street, I stood with Piero. All eyes were turned on me. "What are they laughing at?" I asked, but he grinned, dusting the chalk from my black cloak. "I cannot see. It must be something droll, perhaps an honest thief." All eyes were turned on me. "He has robbed you of your purse," they laughed. "My purse?" I cried. "Piero, help! It is a thief!" They laughed. "He has robbed you of your purse." The truth stepped out, holding a mirror. "If he is an honest thief," cried Truth, "Piero shall find him with this mirror." But he only grinned, dusting the chalk from my black cloak. "You see," he said, "Truth is an honest thief. She brings you back your mirror." All eyes were turned on me. "Arrest Truth!" I cried, forgetting it was not a mirror but a purse I lost, standing with Piero there where the throng was thickest in the street. The Jester. "Was she fair?" I asked, but he only chuckled, listening to the bells jingling on his cap. "Stabbed," he tittered. "Think of the long journey, the days of peril, the dreadful nights. Think how he wandered, for her sake, year after year, through hostile lands, yearning for kith and kin, yearning for her. Stabbed," he tittered, listening to the bells jingling on his cap. "Was she fair?" I asked, but he only snarled, muttering to the bells jingling on his cap. "She kissed him at the gate," he tittered, "but in the hall his brother's welcome touched his heart." "Was she fair?" I asked. "Stabbed." He chuckled. "Think of the long journey, the days of peril, the dreadful nights. Think how he wandered for her sake, year after year, through hostile lands, yearning for kith and kin, yearning for her. She kissed him at the gate, but in the hall his brother's welcome touched his heart." "Was she fair?" I asked, but he only snarled, listening to the bells jingling in his cap. The Green Room. The clown turned his powdered face to the mirror. "If to be fair is to be beautiful," he said, "who can compare with me in my white mask?" "Who can compare with him in his white mask?" I asked of Death beside me. "Who can compare with me?" said Death, "for I am paler still." "You're very beautiful," sighed the clown, turning his powdered face from the mirror. The Love Test. "If it is true that you love," said Love, "then wait no longer. Give her these jewels which would dishonor her, and so dishonor you in loving one dishonored. If it is true that you love," said Love, "then wait no longer." I took the jewels and went to her, but she trod upon them, sobbing. "Teach me to wait. I love you." "Then wait, if it is true," said Love. I guess that was story 6. Just a collection of rambles as far as I can tell. I'm not quite sure what that was about. Huh. So this is what the guy who smoked that shit from Carcassa rolled up with? Who smoked that shit from Carcassa rolled up with the pages of The King in Yellow saw when he disappeared. Sorry, that sentence was a little bit word salady. Interesting. I'm reading over the passages again. I'm just, huh. Not, these don't seem connected at all. They seem a bit everywhere. They don't seem to have a coherent theme. Wonder what this one was about. Having connection problems and the whole thing felt like a fever dream. I mean, I read it just fine and it was a fever dream. Huh. Well, I guess that's something to ruminate on later in my own time. Story number 7. Last one for today. The Street of the Four Winds. And this part's in French. Okay. Ferme tes yeux à demi, crois tes bras sur ton sein et de ton cœur endormi. Chasse à jamais tout de scène. Je chante la nature, les étoiles dessous, les lames du matin, le coucher du soleil à l'horizon lointain, le ciel qui parlait à cœur de ses sens futurs. Huh. Let me run that into a translation real quick. Close your eyes halfway, cross your arms over your chest, and from your sleeping heart forever banish all design. I sing of nature, the stars in the evening, the tears of the morning, sunsets on the distant horizon, the sky speaking to the heart of future existence. Ah. Interesting. Oh, I just saw that you posted the translation in the chat. Sorry. Chapter 1. The animal paused on the threshold, interrogative, alert, ready for flight if necessary. Severin laid down his pallet and held out a hand of welcome. The cat remained motionless, her yellow eyes fastened upon Severin. "Puss," he said in his low, pleasant voice. "Come in." The tip of her thin tail twitched uncertainly. "Come in," he said again. Apparently, she found his voice reassuring, for she slowly settled upon all fours, her eyes still fastened upon him, her tail tucked under her gaunt flanks. He rose from his easel, smiling. She eyed him quietly, and when he walked toward her, she watched him bend above her without a wince. Her eyes followed his hand until it touched her head. Then she uttered a ragged mew. It had long been Severn's custom to converse with animals, probably because he lived so much alone, and now he said, "What's the matter, puss?" Her timid eyes sought his. "I understand," he said gently. "You shall have it at once." Then moving quietly about, he busied himself with the duties of a host, rinsed a saucer, filled it with the rest of the milk from the bottle on the windowsill, and, kneeling down, crumbled a roll into the hollow of his hand. The creature rose and crept toward the saucer. With the handle of a palette knife, he stirred the crumbs and milk together and stepped back as she thrust her nose into the mess. He watched her in silence. From time to time, the saucer clinked upon the tiled floor as she reached for a morsel on the rim. And at last, the bread was all gone, and her purple tongue traveled over every unlicked spot until the saucer shone like polished marble. Then she sat up, and coolly turning her back to him, began her ablutions. "Keep it up," said Severn, much interested. "You need it." She flattened one ear, but neither turned nor interrupted her toilet. As the grime was slowly removed, Severn observed that nature had intended her for a white cat. Her fur had disappeared in patches from disease or the chances of war. Her tail was bony and her spine sharp. But what charms she had were becoming apparent under vigorous licking, and he waited until she had finished before reopening the conversation. When at last she closed her eyes and folded her 4 paws under her breast, he began again very gently. "Puss, tell me your troubles." At the sound of his voice, she broke into a harsh rumbling which he recognized as an attempt to purr. He bent over to rub her cheek, and she mewed again, an amiable, inquiring little mew, to which he replied, "Certainly. You are greatly improved, and when you recover your plumage, you will be a gorgeous bird." Much flattered, she stood up and marched around and around his legs, pushing her head between them and making pleased remarks, to which he responded with grave politeness. "Now, what sent you here?" he said. "Here into the street of the 4 winds, and up 5 flights to the very door where you would be welcome. What was it that prevented your meditated flight when I turned from my canvas to encounter your yellow eyes? Are you a Latin Quarter cat, as I am a Latin Quarter man? And why do you wear a rose-colored flowered garter buckled about your neck?" The cat had climbed into his lap, and now sat purring as he passed his hand over her thin coat. "Excuse me," he continued in a lazy, soothing tones, harmonizing with her purring, "if I seem indelicate, but I cannot help musing on this rose-colored garter, flowered so quaintly and fastened with a silver clasp. For the clasp is silver. I can see the mint mark on the edge, as is prescribed by the law of the French Republic. Now why is this garter woven of rose silk and delicately embroidered? Why is this silken garter with its silver clasp about your famished throat? Am I indiscreet when I inquire if its owner is your owner? Is she some aged dame living in memory of youthful vanities, fond, doting on you, decorating you with her intimate personal attire? The circumference of the garter would suggest this, for your neck is thin, and the garter fits you. But then again, I notice most things. That the garter is capable of being much enlarged. These small silver-rimmed eyelets, of which I count 5, are proof of that. And now I observe that the 5th eyelet is worn out, as though the tongue of the class were accustomed to lie there. That seems to argue a well-rounded form." The cat curled her toes in contentment. The street was very still outside. He murmured on. "Why should your mistress decorate you with an article most necessary to her at all times? Anyway, at most times. How did she come to slip this bit of silk and silver about your neck? Was it the caprice of a moment when you, before you had lost your pristine plumpness, marched singing into her bedroom to bid her good morning? Of course, and she sat up among the pillows, her coiled hair tumbling to her shoulders as you sprang upon the bed purring, "Good day, my lady." Oh, it is very easy to understand. He yawned, resting his head on the back of the chair. The cat still purred, tightening and relaxing her padded claws over his knee. "Shall I tell you all about her, cat? She's very beautiful, your mistress," he murmured drowsily, "and her hair is heavy as burnished gold. I could paint her, not on canvas, for I should need shades and tones and hues and dyes more splendid than the iris of a splendid rainbow. I could only paint her with closed eyes, for in dreams alone can such colors as I need be found. For her eyes I must have azure from skies untroubled by a cloud, the skies of dreamland. For her lips, roses from the palaces of slumberland, and for her brow, snowdrifts from mountains which tower in fantastic pinnacles to the moons. Oh, much higher than our moon here, the crystal moons of dreamland. She's very beautiful, your mistress." The words died on his lips and his eyelids drooped. The cat too was asleep, her cheek turned up upon her wasted flank, her paws relaxed and limp. Chapter 2. "It is fortunate," said Severin, sitting up and stretching, "that we have tided over the dinner hour, for I have nothing to offer you for supper but what may be purchased with 1 silver franc. The cat on his knee rose, arched her back, yawned, and looked up at him. "What shall it be? A roast chicken with salad. Possibly you prefer beef. Of course, and I shall try an egg and some white bread. Now for the wines. Milk for you? Good. I shall take a little water, fresh from the wood." And with a motion toward the bucket in the sink, he put on his hat and left the room. The cat followed to the door, and after he had closed it behind him, she settled down, smelling at the cracks and cocking one ear at every creak from the crazy old building. The door below opened and shut. The cat looked serious, for a moment, doubtful, and her ears flattened in nervous expectation. Presently she rose with a jerk of her tail and started on a noiseless tour of the studio. She sneezed at a pot of turpentine, hastily retreating to the table, which she presently mounted, and having satisfied her curiosity concerning a roll of red modeling wax, returned to the door and sat down with her eyes on the crack over the threshold. Then she lifted her voice in a thin plaint. When Severn returned, he looked grave, but the cat, joyous and demonstrative, marched around him, rubbing her gaunt body against his legs, driving her head enthusiastically into his hand, and purring until her voice mounted to a squeal. He placed a bit of meat wrapped in brown paper upon the table, and with a penknife cut it into shreds. The milk he took from a bottle which had served for medicine, and poured it into the saucer on the hearth. The cat crouched before it, purring and lapping at the same time. He cooked his egg and ate it with a slice of bread, watching her busy with the shredded meat, and when he had finished, and had filled and emptied a cup of water from the bucket in the sink, he sat down, taking her into his lap, where she at once curled up and began her toilet. He began to speak again, touching her caressingly at times by way of emphasis. "Cat, I have found out where your mistress lives. It is not very far away. It is here, under the same leaky roof, but in the north wing, which I had supposed was uninhabited. My janitor tells me this. By chance, he is almost sober this evening. The butcher on the Rue de Seine, where I bought your meat, knows you, and old Cabane the baker identified you with needless sarcasm. They tell me hard tales of your mistress, which I shall not believe. They say she is idle and vain and pleasure-loving, They say she is harebrained and reckless. The little sculptor on the ground floor, who was buying rolls from old Caban, spoke to me tonight for the first time, although we've always bowed to each other. He said she was very good and very beautiful. He has only seen her once and does not know her name. I thanked him. I don't know why I thanked him so warmly. Caban said, "Into this cursed street of the four winds. The four winds blow all things evil." The sculptor looked confused, but when he went out with his rolls, he said to me, "I am sure, monsieur, that she is as good as she is beautiful." The cat had finished her toilet, and now, springing softly to the floor, went to the door and sniffed. He knelt beside her, and, unclasping the garter, held it for a moment in his hands. After a while he said, "There is a name engraved upon the silver clasp beneath the buckle. It is a pretty name. Sylvia Elvin. Sylvia is a woman's name. Elvin is the name of a town. In Paris, in this little quarter, above all, in this street of the four winds, names are worn and put away as the fashions change with the seasons. I know this little town of Elvin, for there I met fate face to face, and fate was unkind. But do you know that in Elvin fate had another name, and that name was Sylvia?" He replaced the garter and stood up, looking down at the cat crouched before the closed door. "The name of Elvin has a charm for me. It tells me of meadows and clear rivers. The name of Sylvia troubles me like perfume from dead flowers." The cat mewed. Yes, he said soothingly. "I will take you back. Your Sylvia is not my Sylvia. The world is wide, and Elvin is not unknown. Yet in the darkness and filth of poorer Paris, and the sad shadows of this ancient house, these names are very pleasant to me." He lifted her ear in his arms and strode through the silent corridors to the stairs, down 5 flights and into the moonlit court, past the little sculptor's den, and then again in at the gates of the north wing, and up the worm-eaten stairs he passed until he came to a closed door. When he had stood knocking for a long time, something moved behind the door. It opened, and he went in. The room was dark. As he crossed the threshold, the cat sprang from his arms into the shadows. He listened, but heard nothing. The silence was oppressive, and he struck a match. At his elbow stood a table, and on the table a candle in a gilded candlestick. This he lighted, then looked around. The chamber was vast, the hangings heavy with embroidery. Over the fireplace towered a carved mantel, gray with the ashes of dead fires. In a recess by the deep-set windows stood a bed, from which the bedclothes, soft and fine as lace, trailed to the polished floor. He lifted the candle above his head. A handkerchief lay at his feet. It was faintly perfumed. He turned toward the windows. In front of them was a canopy, and over were flung, pell-mell, a gown of silk, a heap of lace-like garments, white and delicate as spiders' meshes, long, crumpled gloves, and on the floor beneath, the stockings, the little pointed shoes, and one garter of rosy silk, quaintly flowered and fitted with a silver clasp. Wondering, he stepped forward and drew the heavy curtains from the bed. For a moment the candle flared in his hand. Then his eyes met 2 other eyes, wide open, smiling, and the candle flame washed over hair heavy as gold. She was pale, but not as white as he. Her eyes were untroubled as a child's. But he stared, trembling from head to foot, while the candle flickered in his hand. At last he whispered, "Sylvia, it is I." Again he said, "It is I." Then, knowing that she was dead, he kissed her on the mouth, and through the long watches of the night, the cat purred on his knees, tightening and relaxing her padded claws, until the sky paled above the street of the four winds. Huh. End of story. That was interesting. A little... It had that sort of... atmospheric... like suspense, I guess? It was kind of like... It was interesting. Dark atmosphere, but all in all, relatively mundane of a story. Holy shit, he met the famous franchise Fate from Type Moon? The whole time I was thinking he was gonna kill the poor cat. Yeah, cats tend to get killed a lot in horror stories. I'm glad that this one wasn't. I'm glad it was just a hungry little guy, a hungry little girl. Okay, so we have 3 stories left. But the next one is like 4 chapters long, so that's like a long one. So I don't want to do that today. And then the 9th one is like 4 chapters, 5 chapters long, so I definitely don't want to do that. And then the last story is also 5 chapters long. So I may do 8 and 9 together to not tomorrow, next week, and then do 10 on its own to finish off. But yeah, I think like 2 more streams and this should do it. We'll finally finish The King in Yellow. Or that the cat was going to be a beast from Carcassonne. Yeah, see, I think they kind of dropped the whole Carcassonne and the King in Yellow, like, meta story. Like the in-universe story of the King in Yellow. I think they kind of dropped it. I think after that weird time travel love story, they kind of just... It kind of fell to the wayside. I don't know how I feel about that. I came in expecting a lot of like messed up eldritch or like cosmic sort of horror, and only got a little bit of it. I can't help but feel a little bit disappointed, but I want to trust the process, and at the very least I don't want to leave a story unfinished. So and then we have to read the actual play and go mad together. Oh yeah, didn't you say that there was some sort of supplementary or spin-off material of this? I think you mentioned it like a stream or 2 ago, so maybe... Chambers said, fuck the world building, I'm just gonna get high and whatever comes out is what's gonna make it in the paper. Inhabitant of Carcassonne by Ambrose Bierce. Oh, okay. Let me look for that real quick. An inhabitant of Carcosa. Short story by Ambrose Pierce. Okay. So I think what I'll do is um, stories 8 and 9 next week, and the week after 10 plus an inhabitant of Carcassa. And then that'll wrap up the King in Yellow, what do you call it? Super compilation or whatever. That'll wrap up doing the King in Yellow literary universe. Oh, it's what inspired Chambers. Okay, cool. Okay. Well, that was a lot of fun. I hate to like cut a stream short. Well, it's not really short. I set out to do what I wanted to do, but I hate making the streams feel like they're short because I feel like if I'm only streaming like twice or three times a week, that they need to be longer. But I guess longer doesn't necessarily mean quality. But whatever. Um, let's see. Oh, huh. For those of you who follow the footy, Argentina just beat Egypt, so Egypt has been eliminated from the World Cup. So now they're gonna move on to the quarterfinals. Go Argentina. Next up, it's gonna be Switzerland versus Colombia today. So there's that. But let's see. Yeah, that's gonna do it for me today. I hope you guys had fun listening to me ramble a bit about my experience at the concert and listening to me narrate some stories for you guys. Tomorrow we're gonna go back to doing the Ace Attorney case recipe for Turnabout. We're gonna do the trial portion and maybe the investigation portion, depending on how long that is. I'm also gonna have a short rehearsal stream just to kind of bring back in mind what some of these accents are supposed to sound like, as well as maybe practice a little bit of an Italian accent for a couple of characters that I might want to apply it to. Aside from that, I think... There may be a voice filter I want to try to look for, but I'm not going to try too hard to do that, because this is supposed to be more of a dubbing to show my, like, range, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm just thinking out loud. But, yeah, tomorrow, Ace Attorney, one woman, full voice acting, all that stuff, all that good stuff. Yeah. So until then, until next time, if I see you at the rehearsal stream or Ace Attorney, then wonderful. If I don't, then I will see you whenever I see you. And until next time, make sure to eat well, stay hydrated, and get lots of good rest. Be kind to yourselves and be excellent to each other, and have a radiant rest of your day. And of course, as always, remember to unshrimp yourselves. This has been Ray Langley, virtual entertainer and wolf girl extraordinaire, and I will see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, before I go, one last stream of consciousness thought. I really need to make a new intro outro song. I'm getting tired of this one. It's too plain. You guys deserve better.